Star Wars 7x7, episode 2695. All right, we're talking about the Star Wars Holiday Special and getting to the good part finally. Yes, there is actually a good part. It's a little confusing now, many years down the line, but that's okay. It's the part that features the Boba Fett cartoon. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy. And thank you so much for joining me for it. So, the Boba Fett cartoon appears in the third quarter of the Star Wars Holiday Special that came out way back in 1978. And you can actually watch that cartoon on Disney+. It's included in the extras right now. It's the story of the Faithful Wookiee, I believe, is what it's called. And if you've had a chance to check out the Under the Helmet documentary that's on Disney Plus about Boba Fett, or you listened to my episode a couple of weeks ago about it, actually it was like the Saturday the 13th, so not that long ago. Anyway, you probably heard me talking about, or got to see for yourself, George Lucas, and whoever the mad genius was to set this up gets my undying applause. Putting him in the position of saying, oh yeah, but then we did this holiday special. Making him be the one to broach the topic of the holiday special was just genius. And he talked about saying that, we didn't have much to do with it. Well, I mean, you had 9 minutes of Shreewook to do with it, George, that's for sure. But he said, hey, we had the idea to do this cartoon and to introduce Boba Fett in the cartoon, which was revolutionary at the time. Like, the cartoon stuff that they were doing was pretty awesome. And it was Nelvana, which is a Canadian company, if I'm not tremendously mistaken, and they're still in business today doing cool stuff. Supposedly, this is the only thing after the fact back in the day, and also after the fact now, that George Lucas actually still thinks is okay from the holiday special, and that's probably why it's also the only part of the holiday special that's on Disney Plus. And you can't really disagree with the guy after watching the holiday special. It's something else entirely. It is just something else. Although there are some, little funny things, like even with the special editions, for example, when Boba Fett shows up in Docking Bay 94 with Jabba the Hutt and a bunch of other people, right? So at that point, Han Solo clearly knows Boba Fett, and this incident that happens in the cartoon happens after that, so, he should know who Boba Fett is, but there's the whole, canon structure thing that was in place at the time, and movie canon would override cartoon canon, basically, so, yeah, then it just gets to be apocryphal, I guess, as far as the story goes. I don't know, but that's okay. You don't have to think too hard about it at all. You just have to enjoy it, and so, yeah, let's enjoy it. Or more specifically, let's enjoy me from 7 years ago talking about rewatching that cartoon for the first time, as in episode 139, I dug into the third quarter of the holiday special. So now this is probably Monday morning quarterbacking or, 30-year afterward quarterbacking. But looking back at the Star Wars Holiday Special, I got to say that the cartoon with Boba Fett's first appearance is pretty much the only thing that holds up that's actually original. Of course, the shots from space of the Star Destroyers and TIE Fighters pursuing the Millennium Falcon, well, that was taken from Star Wars, so it doesn't really count, does it? But the cartoon holds up well, and I definitely highly recommend that you go check that out just for nostalgia's sake. It's pretty tricky the way that they do that, bringing Boba Fett in and having him pose as being a friend of Luke and Han's, just who happens to randomly show up and decide that he's going to be a good Samaritan and help, but secretly in league with Darth Vader. Ooh, yeah. That's a good way to introduce the character, and I'm thrilled that they were thinking far enough ahead that they said, hey, let's introduce that character, and made him actually a part of The Empire Strikes Back. So good on you guys. I think that must have been a piece that made it through from the Lucasfilm team and was well executed. So great job. Well executed for the 70s, at least. The worst of it all is, poor Lumpy. You feel sorry for the kid. The stormtroopers ransack his room. They tear the head off his stuffed bantha. Poor kid. But then he has to suffer the indignity of having it rubbed in his face by the Imperial officer, and pity the guy who had to play the Imperial officer and deliver this line. Like, he stares Lumpy down and says, "Go clean up your room." I can't say it with a straight face. That has to be the worst evil catchphrase ever delivered in the history of television. Oh, my word. Who had to do that? Really, like, they had the most talented variety show team, even that's saying something, because really, like, this is what they came up with, but that was their big line. Oh, brother. And Harvey Korman makes the second of his third appearances in this thing, and honestly, it's just forgettable. It's not even, like, bad enough to be commented upon, really. So, just hang with us, because the last part of the holiday special, which we'll talk about in tomorrow's episode, whatever was happening in the writer's room, I think they all just collectively lost their minds, or I don't even want to know what craft services was serving them, because you just have to see it to believe it, or hear about it on the next episode. And there you go. That was me from 7 years ago, from November of 2014, talking about that third quarter of the Star Wars Holiday Special. And that's going to do it for this episode of the show. It just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.